It was very nice of you to come by, and I know you wanted. What we should mention is Madam X, the motion picture, but I'm at a loss for words. I have to tell you this. I fell in love years ago with you when you were in a movie called The Postman Always Rings Twice
Oh, yes.
with John Garfield.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I knew you were coming in today, I was going to say I was sick and not come in at all.
Coward.
And then I thought, no, I'll ask people to write in. So I said, if you have any questions you want me to ask, send them in. So all these questions came in, but they were all personal things like, do you remember Sophie Glutz, who you went to high school with? And I threw those away. So I frankly am at a loss for words. Aside from talking about Madam X, there's so many, I don't know, questions that run through the mind, but I still have this terrible crush, I have to admit.
Well,
I'm a married man with children.
well, may I thank you very much. I'm delighted to know that you do have a crush still. I'm sure your wife will understand. That was many years ago, right?
Yes, but I'm not over it yet.
And we're sitting kind of close, aren't we?
And you're prettier than ever, I have to say that, too.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. We've been on a long tour with this film, and today is my last working day.
Really?
I don't believe it, but they keep telling me it
Yeah.
is. And then I shall be home on the beach tomorrow.
Well, I think to me the most interesting thing is, and if I can say this, and say it sincerely, that you started out with one image, but you have developed into a fine dramatic actress. Really, I'm very critical. I am a moviegoer, but I'm a critical moviegoer. And I think you've become not become, I don't mean you weren't always a good actress, but you've become a fine dramatic actress. And I think that to me is the most important thing, because it's your craft, and you've learned it, and you do it so well.
Well, thank you very much, Jack. Actually, I would like to think that I have matured enough that I can handle some of the finer dramatic roles that it's rather sad that we have to more or less reach back for them to make remakes because our writers are just not writing that kind of material today. All they're writing, if please forgive me, I must say it, are just the sick pictures. And I've read so many scripts because naturally I'm searching for another to do that I wouldn't touch, with a 10-foot pole. I don't believe in that kind of writing. I don't believe it is entertainment. I think, good heavens, we all have our own problems. Why go and pay some very good money to sit there and see some tormented soul, some creep up there that we wouldn't speak to? It isn't entertainment. And I am of the old school. Give them entertainment. Give them back their dreams.
Why have movies changed that much? Why is it a whole different thing today? Why has the sick movie emerged, or the paranoid kind of thing? There must be a reason for it.
Yes, and this is my own personal opinion. I believe if the writers would go out and speak to the public, listen to them is really what I mean. They would find out that they don't really want to see those films.
They're fixing the air conditioning or
I
something.
wondered.
Someone's trapped in the furnace.
As I said, people still want entertainment. So basically, I do blame the writers. If they come with something else, then a producer or a director, or as in my case, an actress, I'd like to think of myself as that, with my own independent producing company, I'm constantly searching for stories, but I won't touch those. And I know some very fine directors who won't touch them either. So, unless, as I said earlier, we go back and do remakes of what they call classics, somebody has to come up with entertainment.
Well, are you a moviegoer? I mean, in your spare time, do you see a lot of film?
I try to see as many as I can, but I must be very honest with you. I have missed quite a number of the good ones, and for a very honest reason. I live way out Malibu Beach, and it's a good 45-minute drive to get to the theater, and it's like pulling hen's teeth to get me into town, even on business appointments. I here's one of my representatives, and I keep saying, well, no, I just broke my ankle. I can't make it today. How about tomorrow? It'll be better. I don't want to leave there to go into, well, what I call a jungle.
Well, the reason I asked was I
But
just
I have
wondered
missed many good films.
in the past few years what you thought were a few good films that had been done and done well.
Well, now, let's see. That's rather a loaded question. I'll tell you the last one I saw
Mm.
was a picture called Darling
Mm.
with truly one of the freshest, most sensational talents that I have seen in many a year, young lady called Julie Christie. She is a powerhouse.
Julie, is it an American film, Darling?
No, it's
No.
European.
Oh.
But she comes on so strong and so great. And I'd like to mention another young actress that I believe is really going to, again, given the roles, a young lady called Honor Blackman.
Mm-hmm.
Again, such talent. Now, if they just will give them the roles and don't misuse them, I think we'll have two brand new stars on our hands, and heavens knows we need them, including the little man who's making all the noise. Come down.
I wonder what's going on in it. You know, there was something I wanted to ask you. I had a very interesting guy on some time ago who was talking about the price of fame and fortune, and of course, the things you've done have opened up the whole world. You've been everywhere, I'm sure, and met royalty, the crown heads, one thing and another. And he made it very interesting. Since he's a comedian who is kind of starting, but a very talented guy, he said that there's a tremendous price to be paid for fame and fortune and that sort of thing. And he said that if many entertainers realized the price that they would end up paying, some of them would stop. And I just, this was very interesting when he said it to me, and I thought, if you were coming in, that I would like to ask you if the end result is worth the price that must be paid, the complete loss of a personal life, because you have none really. You can't go anywhere. You can't do it really without people. You know, I'm sure
Well,
that
now
there's a tremendous price to be
you're
paid.
taking away my answer because what I know so well, the big price that you pay is the loss of privacy. I'm no different from any of those charming ladies looking in at us now, or any of the
Oh, I
ladies
don't
who are,
know.
well, that was cute. But it's difficult to be in the fishbowl, and that's why I live where I live. One thing, in fact, it is probably the last bit of privacy that I fiercely protect, as my representatives know. My home has never been photographed.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I have never been photographed in my home. Here I am hanging up a picture. Oh, look at me. I'm scrambling an egg in the kitchen and all of that nonsense. I think it is ridiculous. The home is the last sanctuary that we have. And I repeat, I fiercely protect it.
Divide the two, home life and
yes, very
public life.
definitely. The public, God bless them all. And I have great respect for them because they've been wonderful to me throughout these years. They can dream of how I live or where I live or whatever. But there's still a little bit of mystery there.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I'm giving them their dreams.
But you still didn't say, is it
Oh,
worth
didn't
the
I
price?
answer?
Is it worth the price that one pays for this elusive thing, this fame?
Well, now, I would have to say yes.
It is.
Yes, because in my particular position, I have come to know in the recent years financial security, which means that I know no matter what might happen to me, my family, my mother and my daughter, would be very well taken care of. I'm having a great deal of fun going into a very expensive hobby, thoroughbred horse racing. I have 3 horses now, and let's hope they pay off one of these days. I have been able to acquire quite a bit of real estate. I don't say this in a braggadocio way,
No, no,
please.
I understand.
But I'm telling you, I'm trying to explain how it has paid off for me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my future plans, I really hope only to make a few more films because I have my own independent producing
Mm-hmm.
company.
Did you produce Madam X, by the way?
Co-produced it,
Mhm.
yes, with Mr. Ross Hunter, and it is a Universal picture. And my company is called LT. We spell it ELTEE,
Mhm.
you know, the play on the initials. But one day I would like to stop with the sweat of my brow, you know?
And produce other films with other
Yes,
people.
yes, and I truthfully believe that there's a great deal of untapped talent that has not been given the chance um, to come forth. And I think unknowns should be given a chance. Heaven knows it happened to me.
And as a producer, you could do that.
Yes, I could. And
Well, where do young people who want to get into films, where are they now? Are they doing little theater? Are they doing summer stock? Are they bussing dishes somewhere? Where do you find these young people with a potential?
well, isn't it just sort of a magical thing that someone out there will be chosen? Who knows where they are, what they're doing? But someday, and it may be a fluke, but they will be found and they will be given the chance, at least in what little way that I can do to help.
I spent $8,000 on sodas in Schwab's drugstore. Nothing ever happened to me.
It doesn't happen in a drugstore.
If you were to ask me to run away for a movie career, I'd be delighted or quit my job. But the one thing I can't do is omit commercials. Give me just 1 minute here to make a few dollars, and I'll be right back. This is Miss Lana Turner. It's 3:45. Jack Carney and Miss Lana Turner is here this afternoon. I guess you probably played opposite every leading man of note in the business at one time or another. There's so many of them that have fascinated me. Like I always thought John Garfield
Mm.
was one of the most fantastic people. I, I don't know anything about him except in pictures.
Oh, yes, he truly was. We don't have that kind of talent around today, unfortunately. But to work with this man was so exciting because he would um, bounce back at you, you know, and really keep you on your toes, and you knew that he was on his toes. And well, it created an exciting chemistry between the two of us, and it came off on film.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. What about Clark Gable? I know you played opposite Clark
Ah,
Gable.
yes, my dear, dear love. We did 4 films together, and I speak of him with the utmost respect. He was such a dear, gentle man. And the first film I did with him, I was quaking all over he was the king. Let's
Mm.
face it, there's only been one, and Mr. Gable was it. And here I'm this little squirt kid who's put opposite him, and he could tell how terribly nervous I was. So he had this way of teasing me that I'd sort of do a double take with because I said, "No, wait a minute, how did he mean that?" And then finally I got to know his routine. So then the next couple of pictures I'd start teasing him.
Mm.
And we had a wonderful rapport.
Never seen a bad picture or a bad angle on Clark Gable. I think he was
He
probably
didn't
the
have
best
one.
looking man, the most virile,
Ears
masculine.
and all.
Yes, handsome,
Oh,
handsome man.
yes. And such a good man.
That was a terrible thing. He was such a young man, too, when he passed
Mm.
away. Who was probably the most attractive man you ever were in a picture with? Is there one that stands out? Would it be Gable?
How do you mean attractive?
As a
Do you
woman?
mean in
No, to
just
you,
looks?
as a person. As a person and appearance, too.
Well, yes, I could say Mr. Gable because I always looked up to him, and of course he was completely untouchable to me. So he had an aura about him that I just loved and respected. Now, attractive physically, I think I've been very lucky. I've worked with some very attractive men. You're
Mm-hmm.
not going to catch me on that question.
Why is it that 15 or 20 years ago in pictures there was a dominant name or two dominant names? There would be Lana Turner and Clark Gable. And why is it that that's so diversified today? And instead of, do you know what I mean? You don't know. Uh, well, it strikes me that today there are not great names, but many, many big names. There was always two or three of the real greats. Uh, well, there was, uh, for example, Jimmy Stewart and Cary Grant and Gary Cooper. But today there are 40 leading men, all of about the same magnitude. Each studio had its top star, it seems, and its top actress. There's male and female stars. But today there seem to be so many more of a smaller magnitude. Do you know what I
No,
mean?
yes, you've just said it. I don't have to answer it. There was a time when you had your great stars
Right.
and they were uh, mated together for a film. Now there are only a few of them left, let's face it.
But the whole system has changed.
Yes, they keep screaming for new faces, and then they will find a talent and they won't stay behind it and develop it. And suddenly you say, whatever happened to so and so? I
Hmm.
believed in him or her. Somebody says, I don't know, they haven't done anything. Well, no one got behind them and protected them and pushed them forward. So now, as you say, you have more or less one plateau
That's
of
right.
an actor or actress. And that's why the two young ladies I mentioned, if they are protected, I believe will become our next big
Well,
stars.
I read the other day that Doris Day is the biggest box office draw in the business, and I think I'd only go to a Doris Day movie to catch up on my sleep. I think she's frightful.
Oh dear, remember you said that. I
Yes,
didn't.
but there are that now. If Doris Day is the dominant name in the business, things have certainly changed.
Well, if you look at her films, um, just clinically, or if you had some matching books going for you, it's obvious to we can see in the business is what I mean
Mm.
why her she is so high on the list of top money makers because she makes good films. I don't say they're the greatest, but they are good,
And they're
and you
not
know
the
why?
psycho thing
They
either.
are entertainment. You can
Mm.
walk out of there a little refreshed. You can say, gee, wasn't that funny? But you don't walk out thinking, my God, I have to kill my psychoanalyst,
Mm.
because he didn't treat me right or something. So she's very smart, and her husband, Mr. Melcher, um, they're not dummies. They know
Hmm.
what they're doing, and they're getting the very fact that she does as many films a year as she does is something. It's like let's get it now and run.
Well, Rock Hudson's supposed to be the top male in the business today, and he always looks to me like he's made out of marshmallow. He's not.
Oh,
He's not believable. Like he's certainly no Gable. He's not. This is strictly a man's point of view, but
yeah.
I don't understand that either. For example, and I'm not dealing in personalities. Again, I'm wondering what happened to the business. Why aren't there any more great stars? Why are there just?
Because they have not made them, and they almost the new ones, particularly coming along, seem as though they're all out of one stamp. They all look alike. They all sound alike. And these former stars that we were speaking of, they had a definite personality. No one was alike then. A Robert Taylor wasn't like a Clark Gable. A
Hmm.
Spencer Tracy wasn't like a Jimmy Stewart. I mean, each was a definite personality. Now they're all out of one mold, is my personal opinion. I
Hmm.
must clarify
Hmm.
that.
Hmm.
So you keep saying, where are they? We kept saying, where are they?
I had Joseph Cotton on the other day. Now he's a star to me of great magnitude, but I can't think of one that's come up in the last 10 years, really. That well, anyway, I think maybe it happened when the big studios kind of diversified and the motion picture business spread out to the independent producers.
Yes, that had a great deal to do with it because when you had no longer had a contract list, people that really belonged to that studio and they took care of their people and had if they couldn't find a story already written, they would have writers put on to write just for that
Hmm.
personality. That's no longer today. Everything is all too independent. Everybody works by the clock. They claim they don't have time to do this and don't have time to do that. Well, they take an awful lot of time to make some bad pictures.
Hmm. If you were to go back and could start again today, at the same age you started, when you started, uh, would you say it would be tougher today in the motion picture business to do what you've done, or to approach doing what you've done? The nature of the business, would that make it tougher today than it was, well, when you did it.
Oh, yes, Jack, most definitely, because, well, no one would take the time to give me the opportunity to develop, to go from a small role into maybe a little bit bigger role, and to bring me along slowly. If they just threw me into, let's say, a halfway important part, the way I was when I started at 16 with no training at all, I'm sure I would fall right on my face because I wouldn't have known what to do.
So it is tougher today, more competitive today, more difficult, the
It's
very
really,
nature of the
they're all
business.
out there fighting for it,
Hmm.
yes. I'm
We
very happy that I went through the particular area that I did.
the only thing I think is if you had started 20 years sooner, you'd have beat income tax. That probably is the best time of all.
Yes, my taxmen are worrying about that.
We better say something about Madam X because we're almost out of time.
Well, I would like to say that it's opened today in San Francisco, and it's open in Miami and various other places throughout the country. And from the reports that we hear, well, some people seem to be enjoying it, and my true desire is that the people will go to see it. I hope they will come out having a sense of release. It is a tearjerker.
Hmm.
I'm not ashamed to say that.
But not a psychotic tearjerker.
No, it's not that kind. But
Well, a good cry
from
is
what
good for all of us at one
we
time, right?
all
My
need it.
wife does it regularly.
Listen, the supreme power gave us tear ducts for some reason, you know. So I hope they will go see it and enjoy it.
I think they will. And I thank you for coming in. It's been a very exciting afternoon for me.
Thank you, Jack. It's
I've
so nice being with you.
always wanted to meet you, and now I finally have.
You see, and tell your wife I said hello.
Yes, well, she's not speaking to me, probably.
Well, just say, you can start the conversation. Say, Lana said hello.
Thank you very much, Miss Lana Turner.
Beacon's men are careful.